It's been a tale of two races here already for the sprint portion of the Operation eMotorsport League, as Elias Roman and Matt Smotherman are atop the standings, with one coming out on top last time out of Watkins Glen here on Race Spot TV, with Matt Smotherman dominating both races except the nemesis of the bus stop caught him out to dry. Well, we've got this with LMP2 and several other classes to watch tonight as the stars and cars of the Operation eMotorsport League make their trek to Austin, Texas, to the fantastic Circuit of the Americas. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're watching us around the world. My name is Jeremy Scott. Josh Lee's back in the production truck, making it sound so good. Well, we talked about our schedule. Of course, it is a mix of endurance races and sprint races. We've got 3 in a row here. We've got COTA tonight. In a couple of weeks, we will be at Barber Motorsport Park, and then Virginia International Raceway on April 14th. We'll take a break as they can run the endurance race later that week at VIR. Then we round out our sprint season with Mosport and Road America. So a couple of great tracks to mention here as the field's already worked their endurance race. Let's take a look at the point standings as we roll on to the Pro LMP2. Elias Roman, as you saw, he is your points leader in the Pro Ben side of things for LMP2 with Matt Smotherman. Those are your two winners so far in the Race Spot TV broadcast. Louis Rios, Justin Bissett, and Zachary Bache round out your top 5. Then you have Tanner Masters, Gene Kelly, and the rest of the field. On to Pro Ben 992.2, Martin Wallace with an 8-point lead over Chris Glandon, John Salata, Skylar Fickroy, and Ty Schuring rounding out your top 5 right now, with Nicholas Salputis, Willie Brennan, and Scott Andrews all in the field so far. On to the GT3 standings. It's Chance Sheffield with the commanding lead so far over Jason McSparron. We'll see if he shows up. I know he was having some issues in and of himself. Damian Castro, David Bell, and Richard Davenport rounding out your top 5. Still tight right there for that battle for third. You see about 5 points separates the Castro, Bell, and Davenport. Let's take a look at your open GT4 standings, I should say, as Mason Cardinal and Tyler Manning locked in battle there for the top spot. Then Andrew Cooper, Peter Heitzman, and Charles St. Pierre. You also have Kyle Shelton, Dustin Wells, Nate Orlowski, and Farina Pereira also garnering 1 point so far here in season 12. And on to the track as the cars are making their way around for the qualifying session. You see the cars warming up. That's the number 99. That's going to be Elias Roman, the winner last time out here in Operation Motorsport, as the Bombshell Racing Team took the win over Matt Smotherman and Watkins Glen. Basically, Smotherman with a win, Roman second. So these two kind of flip-flop just a little bit, back-to-back podiums as you're on board with the number 99. Let's listen in. So you see going down the long back straightaway, of course. If you were watching 2 weeks ago on television, you saw the shorter course that the COTA does have. And honestly, I get why NASCAR does it, but it's a crying shame as you have that going. All around that you have the 666 right now. that is Martin Bob Wallace. So Bob Wallace in the 666. The second car on the circuit for the ZFG Racing. That is in the 992.2 class. Now, it's going to be easy to tell which Porsche is which. The 992 right here doesn't have as many body fairings as you'll see the GT3R in the GT3 class, and we'll see the standings here in just a little bit as well. We're set for 45 minutes of racing after this qualifying session. We're also at the 2:10.046. And looks like we have a great handful of cars here for today's race at the Circuit of the Americas. Now with Jonathan Labie in the Bits and Bobs Racing number 47. First time we've seen him out in this LMP2 class. Beset with your fastest time so far, 2:01.081. Quick times already being put down on the field as you're starting to see more and more drivers who are getting out there, getting their fast laps, and there's Smotherman to the top. 2:04.94, 2:04.94 out of the number 84, trying to shake off a little bit of a rough race that he had last time out at the Glen. As we said, kind of went off course, had some issues there through the bus stop when he and Roman were battling for position, and it was a great battle all race long up until a little bit of a slip up there. Now it's going to be interesting to see how these pit stops are going to come into play, because this is a long circuit at COTA. It's about over 3 miles in length. It's not like Road America where you really got to time your pit stops, but it's a pretty darn close. As Smotherman makes his way out of the S's towards turn number 12, turn 11, I should say. That is your hairpin. See that Nalara making its way down the long back straightaway. He's trying to beat his time with 2:04.94. Taking a look at the lap times so far, and it's going to be tight because look, Beset a half second behind. Roman just threw his first time down for 2:02.061, so he's sitting there in fourth in class, about 1.5 seconds off of Smotherman's time. Of course, these cars still have to get kind of warmed up. The tires nice and grippy as you see Smotherman making his way around the backside of the tower. Downhill through the quadruple apex corner into 19 and setting up for turn number 20. Let's see if Smotherman can continue the pole. See how big I should say he can grow that gap. Oh, he is fastest at 2:01.08, so even faster than his last time out. Up turn 1 once again. Let's see if we can get under the 2-minute mark. I'm quite interested to see that. Chris Glandon, your fastest in 992.2 with the 2:09.415 in GT3. You see Chance Sheffield. And there's Andrew Cooper in that beautiful McLaren in GT4 for the U.S. Army Esports, as he is on a flyer right now. Setting up right now to make the run down to the hair pit, I should say, to the final corner. Sometimes it's a little hard to see where you're at here at COTA. Makes his way around turn number 20, 2:17.725, the fastest time here in GT4. What does he do across the line? And it is no time yet, no time. So most likely out there on a warm-up lap. Yeah, he warmed up at the 22.987. The only drivers not to have times yet, they include Cooper and McSparron as Beset comes down the straightaway in the 4:42. 0.9 of a second off of Smotherman's best time. He improves, though, to a 2 minute 6:07. So the U.S. Army eSports number 442, half second off of Smotherman's best time, and a half second here at COTA is absolutely fantastic. And he agrees too, as he's going to call it a session with just under 6 minutes left to go here, as the field working their way around turn number 19. This is one of the 992s. It is the 012 of Chris Glandon. Glandon, your fastest qualifier so far in this class, of the 9.415. Let's see what he can do across the line. 9.148. So that goes even quicker for your 992 class leader so far, as he makes the run uphill to turn 1. And gonna take a little bit of an off apex, to say the least. Smotherman out there again is 2 minutes, 0.108 right now, the quickest time overall in LMP2. Let's see, he has some other cars in here that still completed times. Louis Rios still out there, 2:05.920, and Smotherman's gonna pull off to the side and call it a session. 4 cars in the GT3. One of those is Chance Sheffield, as Sheffield, your fastest qualifier so far, 9.846 in the number 66 McLaren. 9.846 is his fastest time. What does he do this next time by? And indeed, it stays at a 9.846. So he's logged his 2 times now, just getting out there and doing some practice. Here's Jason McSparron. McSparron was a little worried about missing the start today, as he had some technical difficulties as he's working his way down that long back straightaway. McSparron, though, he's been second in class right now, second of Watkins Glen, and your winner GT3 at Road Atlanta. Of course, we saw during the race how he was passed by a couple of 992s and then had to make his way around them. And once again, I think he's just going to be stuck with the 992 battles, as Glandon's just a tick faster than him, and Wallace a tick slower than him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. 21 cars are set to take the field today, as we're working our way closer and ever so closer to the start of the race. Again, it'll be a 45-minute race. And we'll get to talk some stars of Operation eMotorsport here at the end of the race, so definitely stick around. You're not going to want to miss today's festivities. Here comes McSparron around turn number 20 on the rumble strips, down the straightaway. What does he log as his warm-up times? A 13.345 across the line. He logs a... not show up, so I know we're having some glitches here as well. It's got to be one of those things. Let's see here. McSparron 14.429. So still getting shuffled there. We'll get that figured out, but he and Rios are the only two, and we're hearing that McSparron might have gotten an off track once again. For those of you new to iRacing, if you get anything, any sort of mark, it doesn't matter if it's a 0x, you basically, your lap will be invalidated. Let's listen in as McSparron tries to log a lap, though I think he might be SOL. McSparren probably copped enough off-track penalties to invalidate a lap time that he was able to get, but a 12.246. He's going to be very competitive as the checker flag is out on this session. And we're just about set to grid up for this 45-minute race. Again, it's got to be one pit stop. So strategy's going to really come into play here into the circuit of the Americas. As we get reset, let's pull up that grid as we're just about set to get going here. Row 1. I'll start GT4. Tyler Manning will be alongside Zach Merrill with Nicholas Batista and Kyle Shelton in row 2. Andrew Cooper rounding out the field in the number 11 U.S. Army Esports McLaren. Off to LMP2, it's Matt Smotherman who will lead Justin Bissett to the line with Elias Roman and Jacob Little in row 2. Row 3, Jonathan Lebie and Tanner Masters will round out that row. As you take a look at row 4, it'll be Louis Rios, shotgun on that field. On to the 992.2, I should say, grid. Chris Glandon and Bob Wallace will be alongside each other. Cameron Lackney and Stephen Reyna in row 2. Scott Andrews bringing up the rear in that Liquid Death number 333. And, of course, behind them will be the GT3 class with Chance Sheffield and Damian Castro. Casey Sobel and Jason McSparren will be your only 4 cars there. You saw the GT4 grid, which will be behind them. So we are just set to go racing as the field is finally underway. We'll start off on the back straightaway for these cars. It'll be a half of a pace lap. And we'll get started here. What's going to be interesting is the start of the race. Now, if you've watched COTA, which most of you I know have, if you're tuning in here on RaceBot TV, or you're just supporting your friends and family here on this broadcast, which always is great to do. Turn 1 is a mess going on here. Now, here's one of the reasons why. You go from wide all the way over to narrow, and it is a tight left-handed corner, and that's where you see a lot of mistakes made in the start. You know, you'll see drivers think, okay, you know, I can go 2, 3, 4 wide here, and then try and make an opportune pass. Well, thankfully, we only have 7 prototypes. I don't think we can go 7 wide in that class, and that's the biggest class that we have is at LMP2. So we'll see exactly how that plays out as the fields working their way through the stadium section for the final time at slow speed. The Porsche pace car slowly making its way around the circuit. And you see the tire warming up. A new tire model was issued at least for the stock cars, but we'll see how this all plays out here. I have a feeling that they're, just getting the tires warmed up. You want to make sure that's done. Track temperature 73 degrees, ambient temperature on the surface it's 82 degrees, so little warm but enough to get the tires ready. You see 23 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees for the track temp, 77% humidity, a little breezy here in Austin, and mostly cloudy skies as the in-sim time is 10:37 in the morning, so a little cool there for these cars, and you start to see the split really happen as to the inside you'll have Matt Smotherman, Justin Bissett on the outside. The Porsche pace car makes its turn off now, and 7 prototypes will stare down Barty on the front straightaway as the 992.2 and GT3-4 mixed class will be back there. It's Matt Smotherman and Justin Bissett taking the green. Green flag is out, and Bissett does the right thing and decides, I'm going to get into a draft. Why not start the draft early? Up the long, steep hill to turn 1 they come. So far, so good. Just one side-by-side battle for position. That's between Roman and Lebie, and Roman goes a little wide. He almost gets the lead. I think he does have the lead so far. So Elias Roman has caught Bissett and Smotherman sleeping. Smotherman to second place so far. What a change of events as you see Chris Glandon taking the GTs up to the front. But still, this is a huge gap. Oh, we got a little bit of an issue there with a little bit of a jump. I think that was Castro with a bump there through the S's, and he's able to get that car underway, but looks like he's having a little bit of problems with him in Lackney. That's not for position. We have 1 car into the wall. That is going to be Stephen Reyna in the 21. But my, how the fortunes have changed. Elias Roman, your leader so far as they work their way through the hairpin, now down the long back straightaway. Bissett close enough to make something happen. I think Smotherman will too. We'll go to a replay after we go into turn 12 because I want to see exactly how this all plays out. You've got a battle for position between Labie and Jacob Little back there for fourth place. It's a 47 and the 74. Now down the long straightaway, it's still Roman, Bissett, and Smotherman. Little gets ahead of Labie as they will snake their way through in the GT3, GT 992.2 and GT4 class. Well, let's call it the GT3 way right there. There's your replay, and indeed, yeah, it's, oh, just look at that little jump there, as that indeed was Cameron Lackney with the issue there. And then that's when you see a single car incident. You see that all the time, where drivers just get the back end happy through there and ended up in the wall. Thankfully, thankfully Reyna was able to get in there. Didn't go shotgun on the field, but still has a big gap to get back to Andrew Cooper. Off the final corner as we work our way through lap number 1. Elias Roman, man, I want to get a look at that replay from up above if we can, because that was an absolutely master pass to try and get from third all the way over to first. Sometimes it works, sometimes it absolutely doesn't, but Roman, your winner last time out of Watkins Glen, absolutely made it work as they now work their way into the S's. Roman with a half-second lead. Smotherman, he's fallen back to about 1 second behind Bissett. But I wonder if something happened there with Smotherman as he closes in a little bit. Didn't get lap times from Roman. The only lap time we got in the LMP2 was from Smotherman. So that's something to watch out for here in this first lap. Of course, Chris Glandon, your leader in the 992.2. You got to go back to Tyler Manning in the GT3 class, and you got Casey Sobel leading in the GT4 class. Here's a replay of that Elias Roman pass. And look, you see he goes to the inside, and Smotherman just goes wide. Talk about a fortuitous move. He's able to pinch himself inside Bissett, and then you see Smotherman off wide, so why not the 2-for-1 special? Now you see Bissett closing in on Smotherman closing in on Bissett. That's a battle for second, and we'll see exactly how this plays out here. A nice little dive to the inside that Smotherman has, but still Bissett's gonna have the great line through this quadruple tower corner, and Bissett gets the point back once again. I have a feeling, though, that this battle isn't over, though. That's given Roman a chance to open up a 2.2 second lead. Oh, a little bit of a shove to the inside that Bissett is given, and now look who's all on the back of the gearbox. It's Smotherman. How long does he stay right behind there? Well, he's going to lose a little bit of ground going into turn number 1, so not close enough to make anything happen, though he is still going to try and look to the inside, just show himself right there in the mirrors. Still plenty of time for something to occur here, especially when you got another great braking zone coming up just before you get into the hairpin. By the way, Jason McSparron's made his way up to the point in GT4. He is now your leader over Damian Castro. That's after McSparron did not get a time. Let's take a look at how this happened. As he spun. So McSparron spun and does it again. So that's 2 spins out of McSparron. That's in the GT3 class. So looks like Tyler Manning is leading Damian Castro. Oh, it's a GT4 over GT3. This is actually quite interesting, as McSparron has had 2 spins in the past couple of laps. But how long will Manning be able to keep Castro behind him? It's not going to be long, I'll tell you that, as he tries to go around the outside. That's a very daring pass, and that was an absolute banger of a position move right there. So move Castro to 12th overall, still leading in GT3. Back there, you've got the Zach Merrill, Stephen Reyna battle. That Reyna trying to get around the Mustang of Zach Merrill in GT4. So the 16 right there. Now Reyna decides to dive to the inside. He's going to bring Chad Sheffield with him as well for position. And Sheffield kind of makes easy work, but that GT4 making it a little harder off the corner. would not be surprised to see Sheffield grab another gear, and yeah, there he goes. Now he's going to go ahead and get past that GT4 car. Right behind him, Casey Sobel having some issues as well. So GT3 cars not having the best of luck at this stage of the game so far. As so lots of passing there in the GT3, GT4 class, and Smotherman has finally gotten around Bissett. Bissett takes that position back. Let's go back to that battle for position between these two as they work their way through the S's once again. So turn one was the question of where Smotherman could catch Bissett. He finally got close to him. Let's see if he does. He's got two opportunities here. This is going to be the first one. It's at braking zone to go the left-hander. He closes in. Smotherman just running about the same pace as Bissett. Let's see if he can close in going into the hairpin once again. Deep on the brakes, he's going to show himself, but too far away to make anything happen. And here's the thing, though. They've also caught Elias Roman. He was 2 plus and change ahead of these two. Well, now they are closing in within a second of Bissett. You're on board also with the battle for the lead in GT4. Tyler Manning has it. Zach Merrill wants it. You see the 16 on the upper right-hand side of the screen going around turn number one. Has still got some great battles all throughout the field, though. Zach Merrill falling back to about 1.3 seconds. This battle for the prototype lead is the best battle we have right now. And Smotherman trying to do all that he can to get up to the point that he needs to get around to catch up to Elias Roman. Now, Roman last time by a second slower than Bissett and Smotherman. There's your leader right now, Elias Roman. Let's see how long he can stay up front, that bombshell racing team number 99. He knows that little bit of wiggle there as well. Out of Roman, down the straightaway, and he's turned the wick up. You're on board with Smotherman, as Smotherman's lost some ground as well to Bissett. Oh man, that was a way too fast entry, and he's lost a lot more ground. He's going to lose a couple tenths of a second off to Bissett. Let's hang here with Smotherman a little bit and kind of get what it's like to be in a battle for the podium. Watching the battle for fourth place between Jonathan Labie and Tanner Masters as they're down the front straightaway. We are got that battle going on, and now Bissett is within a second of Roman. So they're kind of all equidistant apart as they work their way all throughout the field right now, but still plenty of time left, and we'll see pit stops here shortly. I imagine they won't. They'll probably hop on a little bit later on, but Roman now 1.2 seconds. To have a set. No, that's a problem for Masters as he basically slides there through the S's. You don't want to, Bassett, I should say, in the 442, as he now loses position to Smotherman. The game is afoot for Smotherman as he gets what he wants, but unfortunately he wasn't able to work for it the way that he wanted to as it worked their way down the back straightaway. Let's see if we can catch a replay and see exactly how he made his way out into the issue there through the S's. Still a tight battle there between Smotherman and Bassett. That was actually a pass going into 12 that got him, and Masters was the one who slid off there in the S's. Either way, this is an absolute great battle here between these two, and Roman, he can't believe his luck. First of all, gifted essentially the lead after a great pass to the inside. Here's Tanner Masters' issue, and looks like, oh, he just hits that bread loaf in the inside, hits the bump, and Aggressive Salmon Racing took those curbs just a little too aggressive and became almost became beach salmon right there. Either way, still around turn 20 as they work their way down the front straightaway once again. We've worked 7 laps in this race, and it seems like Smotherman now is catching. He's a second faster than Elias Roman. On Roman, though, he's just so good through the S's, but Smotherman, who is your race 1 winner, it's your race 1 winner in second, your race 2 winner in the lead. Both of those drivers know how to work their way around an LMP2 down through the S's. Now they have GT4 traffic they'll have to catch up with. That's Kyle Shelton in the 12, who's up ahead that you saw briefly down the straightaway and into the corners. I'll have to deal with the lap traffic. I think he's gonna, well, at least Roman's gonna catch him right there. Great pass. Oh, that almost cost him as he hit the paint and started wiggling, headed down into the hairpin, and that's gonna help Roman for the time being. But Smotherman, but Smotherman and Roman are gonna catch this lap traffic here off of the back straightaway. And the lights are already flashing for Elias Roman as they are coming down once again to catch some of that lap traffic. Now they're getting to the point in the race where the lap traffic will indeed have a part to play in it. The stadium section looms for Roman as he tries to hold off Smotherman around the final couple quarters before you get to the tower corner. It's a quad apex corner, much like Istanbul. Basically what's modeled over, except Istanbul was a left-hander and the right-hander goes to COTA. Roman having to hold off Smotherman, but Smotherman with a little bit of a wiggle. Here's a replay of that pass that he had to make. Here's the thing. Roman, oh, that was so close. He almost had Smotherman in the clutches, and now Smotherman, he's getting even closer. He loves the fact that he's got some lap traffic to deal with, and Roman's just got to make some of these desperate passes because he knows that here comes Smotherman to the inside. Not going to make anything happen here. He knows that Smotherman is going to make any pass that he really wants to as they work their way into the S's once again. So Roman he can't breathe too much because he's got the GT4 of Merrill there in second place. That was a daring move around the section as they work their way into the S. Oh, nice block there, though, that Roman picked up. So he lost several tenths of a second down into the hairpin, as now Bassett's going to fall back big time as they're going to get held up by Zach Merrill. By the way, the GT4s now have, Jason McSperrin is away from the GT4s. Tyler Manning's the next driver that these prototypes will have to deal with, and it's going to be right there that they're going to catch him, and they're going to be able to pass him on the straightaway. So that's good for Roman, not so good for Smotherman, but it's only a matter of time before they catch into McSperrin there, who's third in the GT3 class. By the way, let's get some love to some of our other leaders. Oh, that was a little bit of an off by Sobels. He had a slow exit there. You're watching the Little Masters battle as Masters is finally caught back up to Jacob Little after that mistake that Masters had in the S's a couple times ago. Chris Glandon already opening up a 3-second lead over Martin Bob Wallace there in the 992.2 class. You take a look at GT3, and it's Damian Castro. What a great showing from him in that number 215 McLaren out of the Phoenix Racing stable. And of course, we saw Tyler Manning get past. Casey Sobel gets a black flag. So Sobel will have to answer the steward's call here in just a little bit. And he has to do it sooner rather than later before he's pulled into the paddock for the rest of the race. But we still have a good battle for the lead between Roman and Smotherman. Back to that in LMP2 as it's 0.3 of a second separating these guys once again heading into turn number 1. And Smotherman is just so good through here as Roman goes a little wide. That's not going to help his case to stay in the lead of LMP2 as we take a look. Also, I'm going to take a look at the track map while we've got this going on, because we could have a battle for position here shortly. And indeed, the 22 of Jason McSparron looms deep. He could be the thorn in the side of Roman by the time they get to the heavy braking zone of turn number 12. So all eyes will be on this battle for the lead between Roman and Smotherman. Of course, it may not happen too soon as Roman takes a defensive line heading into the hairpin, and Smotherman's going to have to try and do it on the outside, but he is going to go squeeze himself to the inside. Not going to be close enough to have anything happen, but he is going to catch up to that draft as they work their way down the long back straightaway. Once again, it's not going to be in turn 12 that they'll catch the 22, which is a good thing for Roman. Not so good for Smotherman, but he's going to try once again as Roman laid on the brakes. Here comes Smotherman to the inside, side by side, coming off the corner, and Smotherman does not get the advantage as you're on board with the 84. They're still neck and neck through the stadium section. Roman has the distinct advantage here, but where he won't have the advantage if Smotherman can stay hooked up is through this section. And now Roman is forcing him high, wide, and handsome. Smotherman has a brief advantage. He's got a brief nose. He's got a good look there through turn number 19 because he has the line. And Matt Smotherman is going to take the point after losing it early on, but Roman wants to fight back once again. Around turn 20 they come. Smotherman opens up a half-second lead for the time being. Give this lap to Matt Smotherman, but Justin Bissett also wants a part to play here as they're nose to tail for the top 3 spots in LMP2. Luck of the Irish smiling down on Smotherman for the time being, but still gotta make a pit stop here shortly as we watch Smotherman just trying his best to get around Roman, calculating everything. And at first what I thought was going to be a mistake of a move was actually fortuitous because he had the line going into turn 19 and Roman just had to give it up right through there, but he tried to go around the inside and was not able to make it happen. This time, Elias Roman, I should say, closing in on Smotherman as they work their way around the hairpin. They'll have a GT car here coming up shortly that they will have to get around. No harm, no foul, though, as that's going to be the McSparron car as he moves off to the side. And that's going to be great great work by the number 22 McSparron to let all 3 of those LMP2s go by. So, Smotherman with the point for the time being. And he's opened up a 0.6 of a second lead for the LMP2 and overall lead. What a pass that was. Smotherman biding his time and making his way around last time by in turn number 19. Now you see Bissett trying to do all that he can to catch up to Roman. He's been having some issues trying to do that, but Roman, he's just showing these too good, too fast so far, as Bissett only 0.2 of a second faster than Roman. But Roman, here's the thing, if Roman can get turn 1 down, he's going to be hard to beat. And then if I'm Smotherman, knowing that he'd be able to get turn 1 down, it'd be game over. Pit stops are starting with Jonathan Labie into the pits. You see him on the box as more cars are coming in, and looks like it's a lot of the GTs coming in for a pit stop. Sheffield in and out in 10 seconds, 21 seconds for Castro. So Sheffield gets the GT3 lead out there. Scott Andrews 12.08. 12.1, I should say. Jason McSparron, 13. We'll call that 14 seconds out of McSparron. So all the GT cars getting out there and getting their pit stops. Jonathan Labie, the first of the LMP2s, decide to call time. Oh, that's a very good pass. And I just noticed that Rania has the Longhorns in the incorrect position. I'm sure I'll get some grief from that one. But either way, Roman diving to the inside of Rania. He's fallen back of that earlier contact into the Armco, but he's at least able to get the car going once again, and hopefully showing up for a 4th place finish. At the very worst, at best, he could get 1 or 2 more spots should something happen here in the 992.2 class. Let's see how long Smotherman stays out, and indeed he's going to answer the call to pit right now. Let's see what Roman does if he decides to come in as well. Roman will join him. So this is going to be not only a battle for the lead, but a battle off pit road. Actually, it's Smotherman who comes in. Roman and Bissett are the 2 who stay out. So now it's Roman's turn to get out there and run a couple of good, clean laps if he so desires. On the marks, and it's going to be tires and fuel for the 442, and I think the same also for the 99. There's your leader, Smotherman, and see if he can go for the overcut while Bissett and Roman are trying their best for the undercut. Masters into the pits as well. Jacob Little comes around once again. So right now on course, he's 2nd place. Let's see if Rios decides to come in. And yeah, there is the 343 of Tanner Masters. Roman in and out in 21.2 seconds, Bissett 21.8 seconds, as it looks like it's going to be fuel only for the 343. Rios still too far away to see if he's going to come in, and but yeah, Little and Rios will stay out. So next couple laps, Rios, Smotherman, and Little should answer the call to the pits. No other GTs came in, so the 992.2 class, with the exception of Scott Andrews, have pitted. Casey Sobel with the black flag. So looks like that he was probably too fast entering. All right, Sobel take a tow. Josh, if you see anything on Sobel other than the black flag, let's take a look at it, because he's got the same lap and pit delta times, so that's interesting. Cooper's into the pits. Batista's into the pits. Both of those GT4 drivers, so a couple GT4 class cars into the pits. We're keeping an eye on our overall leader. He's got a 24-second gap, and if I'm Smell, here's the thing. He's got enough time to where if he pits, he might be able to get ahead of Elias Roman, and he's into the pits. As here's the Sobel incident, and it's going to be off the final corner as he's going to hit the rumble strips and just... Well, that's odd that he spun and decided to take the tow into the pits, so that's probably why he got the black flag. Either way, Smotherman made his way into the pits. Let's see what he does. He's got to do something shorter than a 21-second pit stop, and indeed, he's going to get some quick repair done and no tires out of the number 84. So that's going to be interesting to see if he can get out of there. Jacob Little still on the track for the time being, and he comes into the pits right now as well. So Roman, for the time being, could be your leader. The Vandelay Industry Racing number 74 is into the pits. 20.999. That could be enough to put Smotherman back onto the point as he gets out of the track. 7.8 seconds, and that gap is shrinking. between Smotherman and Roman, but that could be enough to give Smotherman a commanding lead, and indeed it is. 8.9 seconds separates your leader from Elias Roman. So Smotherman trying to make it 2 out of 3 here at COTA. Tell you what, we thought that mistake that Smotherman made at the opening lap could have been it for him, but indeed it was not, as he has opened up a 9-second gap. All you can do is laugh. Beset in the 442, sitting there in third place overall and in LMP2, having to negotiate traffic. And of course, that's a big thing here in the Operation eMotorsport League. You see a handful of these series that have such a spread in speed between the LMP2s and the GT4s, which, that's definitely something you want to watch out for when it comes to the race. Of course, now you see Cameron Lackney coming into the pits. Chris Glandon, Bob Wallace still not pitted yet. Same with Steven Rania, which I think he might come in. Wouldn't be surprised if he decides to get some fast repair service done too. Your top 3 in GT4 of Manning, Merrill, and Shelton also have not pitted yet. Let's stay on board with Beset for a little bit as we ride along, get the sights and sounds of a Dallara P217. A little bit further back, Lackney just coming out of the pits, so Rania still has yet to answer the call into the pits. Again, everybody's got to do 1 pit stop. You do 2, and it's going to end your race as Smotherman puts Rania another lap down. Indeed, the 992 of Rania comes into the pits. And you see there on the left-hand side of your screen, Glandon, Wallace, they have to answer the call still, as well as Merrill and Shelton. So only about 4 drivers left to go before they have to do their compulsory pit stop, and then we'll get everybody in and out of pit road. Checking the chats. As my screen, as YouTube decides it doesn't want me to see what you guys are all saying. If you're saying anything, Labie and Masters still in a very lockdown battle for position. It's a little bit bigger than it was, but then again, Labie able to get that car up and around. Of course, that's half the battle of running in the running LMP2. You have to get around traffic, and that's what makes mixed class racing oh so fun, is the fact that you have that much to go off of. As Labie trying to go high, wide, and handsome around this slower traffic. Kyle Shelton, Tyler Manning, who just came out of the pits. Just came out of the pits. Tyler Manning closing in on Kyle Shelton for position. Shelton has to pit. Merrill has to pit. Taking a look at the gap, though, here's the thing. Manning's opened up a 22-second gap over Batista for the aggregate GT4 lead. Here comes Merrill into the pits. We'll see if Shelton takes his Mustang pit side, and he's going to stay out for one more lap. Little daring, but we'll see how it plays out for him. And then you have this battle for fourth place between LeBee and Masters. They're still neck and neck, though. That's gotten a lot closer. 0.3 of a second separates LeBee from Masters around into the stadium portion of the program. I always said that this track kind of raced like an autocross course, just on steroids, because you've got the S's, you've got your technical section, and then you work your way down into the start box. So, neat little course. I was able to come here a couple years ago with Porsche Sprint Challenge, and, you know, the TVs do not do this place justice when it comes to the elevation and just the expanse of this facility. It is massive, and kudos to everybody at COTA who's done so much great work with it. As you see, the 487 flashes lights of Andrew Cooper. So LeBee trying to get around and put Masters behind him, not going to make anything happen, as aggressive Sam in 343 still looking mighty fine after that early race incident. A little bit of a slip up there by LeBee as he works his way around the couple of corners. That gives Masters a chance to close in on for position, but LeBee able to get back on the gas just a little bit harder. The Bits and Bob Racing number 47. On the back straightaway they come. Masters not as close as he was to LeBee this past time by. As LeBee flashing his lights at the GT traffic that he is coming up against. They work their way off the final couple of corners down into down the front straightaway with 11 minutes left to go in this race. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there out of LeBee as LeBee's trying to chase down this GT3 traffic and try to get around turn one. Let's see what happens. Let's see what LeBee does. Sobel gets another black flag. Not able to get around him. That's going to be quite interesting as works his way through the S's, but still the GT4 traffic, he can definitely thank that because he's able to get out there, stretch his legs a little bit, brings Masters with him as well as through the S's they go once again. Just a handful of laps left in this race. See Smotherman 9.1 seconds, so he's held that lead steady as he tries to work his way around the 992 traffic, and Chris Glandon finally answers the call into the pits. So Glandon will set his sights on the pits. Does he take tires? No. It's going to be fuel only for the 012. Bob Walls, let's hang on board with him as he has taken his pit stop. So Sobel, I should say Glandon, the last car to take a pit stop. Let's see if the overcut is going to work for Glandon. He comes out with an 8.4 second gap, 8.45 his pit time here as Glandon makes the late charge into the pits work. You see behind him, there's a lot of space. So the Texas countryside looking pretty good. That hill country view is nice and wide open. There's your GT3 leader with Chance Sheffield. 7.3 seconds separates Sheffield from Damian Castro in that class. So that McLaren looking nice and hooked up. Of course, they have a couple of fast cars behind them. One of those fast cars is an LMP2. And of course, let's take a look at our GT4 leader who timed that pit stop to perfection. It's Tyler Manning in the number 14 as he takes that Porsche Cayman to the top. Of course, Manning in that Evo Sim number 14. Manning, your race 1 winner at Road Atlanta, also had problems leading at to Watkins Glen, but sits second in place. It's Mason Cardinal, points leader. Not here today. Masters closing in on LeBee for position. He's gotten around there, so we'll see how long Masters can keep LeBee away from him. 8 1/3 of a minute left here. Is still plenty of time for LeBee to catch up in that Bits and Bob Racing number 47. About a second and change separates the two of them down the long back straightaway, and you saw Masters pop into the inside of Zach Merrill, that number 16. We'll gap him just a little bit. Well, now Merrill has to let LeBee by at some point, but we'll see how where that happens. And Scott Andrews gets a solid black flag, so he will have to answer the call into the pits here shortly for incident points. Saw there LeBee with easy work of your second place driver in GT4 in Zach Merrill around turn 18. Now setting up for turn 19 once again as Smotherman, he smothered the field so far in LMP2 and basically everybody else, but we are seeing that LeBee is losing ground to Masters. They're a couple of rows apart if you look there on the grid, so there's that at least. Oh, LeBee losing so much ground there. There's Smotherman, your leader right there. No nerves for him. It's 10, 11 seconds separating the 84 from the 99. Oh, man, all you can do is laugh at this point because Smotherman is, he's great here at the field. Let's see, when they cross the line, it'll be 3 laps to go, if I'm doing my math correctly, because he's at 202. Yeah, it'll be 3 laps to go for the 84. And it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows if you're just tuning in. Smotherman went a little wide off turn 1 and lost the lead to Roman. We thought he was going to lose the lead to Bissett, but Roman was side by side with Bissett, got the nose out front going into turn number 2, and was able to get around Smotherman, who was trying to gather himself back up after a strange entry and exit through turn number 1, which, if you've watched enough races at COTA, you know that it's always mayhem, and you gotta hold your breath to make sure that everybody gets there in one piece. Doesn't matter how many cars you have in the field. So either way, Smotherman able to open up now that 12-second lead. He's been able to slice and dice his way through traffic. Was very patient trying to get around Justin Bissett, and then made his way around Elias Roman. So Smotherman, your leader there, as you take a look at him going, finishing off through the S's portion of the program, and around turn number, heading through, I should say, the hairpin in just a little bit. There is your third place driver. It's the 442 of Justin Bissett as he chases down Elias Roman, who did get around that GT traffic. Up ahead, you're on board with Roman. One of my favorite shots is sitting right there, but I also love the shot looking out the back because that's where you see danger and mayhem just all working their way around. Bissett just cannot get around this 992 traffic, and indeed, he's able to pop to the inside, make easy work of him, down into the heavy braking zone. Left-hander. And Roman, because he was behind that lap traffic that last time by, running 3 seconds a lap slower than Bissett. I think Bissett might have the same issue that Roman did because he just had to, had so many problems trying to get around that 992 traffic. Of course, there is the 442 of Bissett trying to close in on Roman. It was 1.7 seconds at the line, and indeed, it didn't harm him that much, but Bissett still, in spite of getting held up by that 992 traffic, still sitting there in close enough range to strike in the next couple of laps. So this is going to be a race to watch as we work our way through the finishing portion of this program. Of course, we'll have the class leaders, a couple of the OpMo beneficiaries will be joining us as well during this broadcast. And you'll definitely want to tune into them because you get to hear their stories, and it's absolutely fantastic what Operation Motorsport does for the world of racing. It's not just an iRacing series. There'll be some Operation Motorsport members at Sebring this weekend, so you'll get to see that out there. And of course, this is one of the many ways that you can support Operation Motorsport. We'll find out more here in just a little bit. Of course, right behind him, you got this right behind us, Motherman. You got this battle for the GT4 third place. This is for the bottom 7 of the podium. Oh, that's going to be contact as Louis Rios spins and unfortunately collects Kyle Shelton. So Batista able to open up a bigger portion that he wanted, as Rania is going to get a solid black flag. So Rania, what a rough day for the 21. And he gets an incident limit penalty. Of course, ends up in contact. That doesn't help his matters much. But Rios with the black flag as well. Let's see what happened to Rania. And I have a feeling it's just a little too fast around the corner. Throws that corner away, which he kind of can't do, but gets out of the gas just too fast. Wrong place, wrong time, and just not watching what's coming at him and just decides to go forward. So Rania has to answer that black flag here in just a little bit. White flag is out. Last lap for Matt Smotherman as he will come around turn number 1. Watch Louis Rios. He just came out of the pits serving that black flag penalty. Rania won't be able to serve it unless he comes in this time by, and indeed he has not. So he will get penalized at the end of the race. The race results that we will have they will have the unofficial standings as you see Rios going around the GT4 traffic, and he's going to let Smotherman by once again as Rios is now put 1 lap down. Oh, it might have been for the 10, though he didn't gain any, but thankfully didn't lose any positions either in LMP2. But tell you what, Smotherman with an absolutely fantastic round this time out. The only mistake he had was early on, which is very good for him because of the simple fact he didn't have to worry about it later. You saw Roman trying to hold off Bissett just a little bit as your leader, working his way down the back straightaway once again, and he's going to put Rania another lap down here as they work their way off of the long back straightaway. So that is going to be such a tight pass right there. Another of the GT4s will be passed here, and really Smotherman slicing and dicing his way through traffic and looking like a pro here this weekend. Smotherman comes off the final couple of corners, and he'll see turn 19 and 20 here in just a little bit. Yeah, I thought he threw it away there in the first corner of the race, but was able to climb his way through and get back to the point, and another commanding lead by the 84. Down the front straightaway, checkered flag is out. The No Nerves Racing 84 of Matt Smotherman makes it 2 out of 3 here on the season at the Circuit of the Americas. Elias Roman finishes off in second place. Justin Bissett sits there in third. There is Chris Glandon, your 992.2 leader. He's held on to that lead almost all race long. The Iron Sight Sim Sport 992.2. God, what a beautiful looking race car that is, with a fantastic paint scheme as well. Off the final corner, Glandon will convert a pole in class to a win in class. He bobs and weaves in celebration. Glandon is your winner in the 992.2 class. Chance Sheffield taking the absolutely gorgeous McLaren around into the stadium section of the program. That BSI Racing sponsored car. Always good to see Shea and the crew, Shea Holbrook with the crew, with the all over the place at BSI Racing. I know they're getting ready for Sebring this weekend as they run in the Michelin Pilot Challenge. But still a great start to the weekend for the BSI Racing team, as Chance Sheffield will come down off the final couple of corners, and another commanding lead, although not as commanding as the rest of them. 4 seconds separates Sheffield from Castro. There's Castro right back there, but Sheffield's going to take the McLaren off the final corner and point it straight at the finish line. Checker flag is out for Chance Sheffield. He is your GT3 winner at COTA, and now we wait our GT4 winner. There's the Cayman of Tyler Manning in the Evo Sim number 14 off the final corner. What a great win for him as he comes down the front straightaway. Checkered flag is out, and it's going to be Tyler Manning, all Tyler Manning here at COTA. You see your leader working his way into the pit road, and man, what a win for Matt Smotherman as he takes a commanding lead in LMP2 over Elias Roman and Justin Bissett. They round out your podium. Tanner Masters, Jonathan LeBee, Jacob Little, and Louis Rios round out your field after 22 laps here at the Circuit of the Americas. Then we go on to the 992.2 class, and it's Chris Glandon over Martin Bob Wallace. Cameron Lackey, Scott Andrews, and Steven Raina round out your field. On to the GT3 class, it's Chance Sheffield with a great win over Damian Castro, Jason McSparron, and Casey Sobel 3 laps down. A rough race for him in his GT3 RS. Last but not least, we got GT4, Tyler Manning, Zach Merrill, Nicholas Batista rounding out your podium, Kyle Shelton, and Andrew Cooper. Your top 5 there. All right, so we've got winners. We've got benefactors to talk to. Let's start off with our winners, as don't see Matt Smotherman yet. Actually, there he is right there. We'll drag him into the booth, and Matt Smotherman, first of all, congratulations. What the heck happened there at the start?
Oh gosh, can you hear me okay? I'm just trying to make sure all my systems are up and running.
You're
okay,
all good.
great.
We hear you good.
Yeah. So, I would like to go ahead and just give all the credit to that spin and that loss of control to Cold Tires. I practiced the start so many times for that exact same reason, and it clearly didn't pay off, but I practiced the pit and that paid off. So, I don't know, at least 1 out of 2.
Yeah, 50% ain't bad. And, here's the thing. I've called races in COTA. I've seen races at COTA. So that's not the worst start infraction we've had there. At least you didn't collect anybody with you. You were able to gather it up, and you still were able to win.
That's true. That's true. I'll take what I can get out of that. I think that was a decent salvage job. I definitely made life a lot harder for myself than I needed to. And I think I also was running a slightly higher downforce setup than the other 2 guys. So when we actually got to the faster sections, I had nothing for them. So I just had to wait for them to make a mistake.
And that's the thing too. They were all so close together, racing one another. But I've got to ask: is this redemption for Watkins Glen for you?
I think so. I think I'm going to keep on trying to redeem myself. I mean, until I actually have a flawless race, I'm not going to consider it redemption at this point.
Either way, you're 2 out of 3. We go on to Barber next time out. What are your thoughts going into that race?
I generally like Barber, but again, that's one of those tighter tracks, and with all this traffic, it's a smaller track. We have multi-class with a big field and a wide differential in speed. It could be chaos. It's like qualifying is going to be key again, and then I guess the start's going to be key as well.
Yeah, because much like here, you have an uphill, but unlike here, you've got a wide couple of corners. Congratulations either way. Great win for you. Anyone you want to thank?
I just thank the other 2 guys who I competed with for the podium. I mean, they did a really good job of putting up a fight, made my life really hard, harder than I made for myself. And good clean racing is always enjoyable, and that's something we could look forward to here.
Exactly. Fantastic racing. You guys got a couple of weeks rest, and we'll see you out at Barber in a couple Tuesdays.
Great. Thank you very much.
Matt Smotherman, your winner in LMP2. Let's bring in, Chris Glandon's not here. Let's bring in Chance Sheffield, as he is your GT3 winner. Chance, first of all, congratulations. What a fantastic win for you. Quite dominating. We see 3.8 seconds, so not bad for what was a quality field.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Me and Damien had pretty run there, and I think we would have been pretty good. He took tires, I didn't. Pit strategy won that race there for me. It was pretty good overall. Tough track, a lot of off tracks here and there. Not a track I would like to come back to.
And let's talk about that, because pit strategy is everything. While you still have a shorter pit road than what we've seen the past couple of weeks, it's a wider pit road because you're using the F1 pits.
It was a tight entrance there. I was actually behind Damien there, and he was just about a corner from me. I seen him dip in, and I slammed on the brakes and dipped in and right behind him. Got my fuel and went out of there, and he took tires, and it just slowed him down enough for me to keep my lead, and my tires were pretty shot there at the end.
And of course, that's key too, with it being, even though it's a newer surface, smooth because it's F1, the facility still wears down on these tires with the heavier cars. Yeah,
they definitely do. They was getting pretty, they were getting pretty worn, pretty slick, sliding quite a bit, going through corners and spinning on throttle pretty hard there at the end.
All right, well, congratulations. Anyone you want to thank right here?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank Otmo. I want to thank Damien for doing this. And I want to thank, I think my family's watching back in Iowa. Thank my wife for letting me do this, and thank you.
Oh, congratulations, Chance, and we'll see you in a couple weeks at Barber.
Thank you.
Your GT3 winner, Chance Sheffield. Let's go to our GT4 winner, and that is going to be Tyler Manning. And Tyler running the Cayman in class. Congratulations. I thought there for a second you might have had some challenges there after the pit stop, but once again, nope. You dominating that class again.
Dominate maybe. Definitely, this track is hard to be consistent at, especially with the multi-class coming around. Like, there were a few times where I'm thinking, I got this lap right on target. I'm going to get like an 18 or something. And then a P2 car or a GT3 or Cup car just comes by and ruins the lap. But yeah, it's multi-class racing, man.
And let's talk about that, because as I mentioned in the broadcast, you don't normally see LMP2s racing with GT4s in a normal race, but this is Opmo. Anything can happen, and it's such a huge speed difference between the two classes.
Yeah, it's a little scary, man. The first race, especially the second, seeing like all those cars come by, it just makes me a little nervous, because sometimes they're like a little patient, they'll take their time, but some are like battling each other, so they don't want to lose time to the person ahead or behind. So they'll dive as much as they can. I think I saw a few of that in this race, but all good. I didn't get crashed into.
And that's half the battle there, is making sure you make it out of there in one piece. Of course, you don't have to worry about it too much because now we go to the technical facilities at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. So you'll have half the length of the straightaways. You got that to look forward to.
Sure, but at least I was safe on the straightaways. They would go past me. Now I gotta... they don't get me in the corners.
I've walked that track, and I can say the elevation might actually save you there. Congratulations on the win. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I definitely want to thank the Operation Motorsport guys. They're an awesome group of people, hanging out with them during the race. Give out to P1 Docs guys. They gave me the setup. Even though they don't have Circuit Americas here, I still found something that was pretty quick. And yeah.
When in doubt, use Road America. See you in a couple weeks, Tyler. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
And last but not least of our winners is the 992.2 winner of Chris Glandon. And Chris, I've got to say this. That was not bad out there. I thought but Bob was going to give you a little bit more of a hassle, but you shook him off and took the win. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. It felt pretty good. Just had a little minor incident there with one of the guys, and I could just imagine how he was feeling about it, but it worked out in my favor. I had to pit that lap anyway for fuel, so we got fast repairs in this league, thank God. So everything worked out great. It was fun, really fun.
Let's talk about that, because you think of COTA, you think of wide open spaces, but at the same time, this is a track where it's technical enough to get you into trouble.
Yeah, for sure. There's high-speed corners, there's medium speed and low speed, and so you're relying on mechanical grip on some of them. Sometimes it's the aero that's holding you onto the track. You really do need a balanced car, and like every corner has you on edge almost with this car too, with the Porsche 992.2. It's a blast to drive, but it's also pretty unforgiving.
Oh, of course, also it's so much like the actual 992.2 car you see out there in the Sprint Challenge and in Carrera Cup North America. But another thing to think about too, which people don't realize, is this car is actually faster than the GT3. So really, you've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, this is my first season actually running the updated car, and I just remember it always being slower than the GT3s by at least a couple seconds, and it doesn't seem to be the case with this one. The traction control and the ABS really does make a difference, and like we're right up there with the GT3s in time, so it makes things a bit awkward sometimes. You get a bit of an accordion effect around the corners and stuff, but that's part of multi-class, man. That's why I love this format.
Barber Motorsports Park in 2 weeks. How excited are you for that race?
Very. I've never actually raced it, so it's going to be a new track for me to learn. I'm going to have to put down some couple hours on the simulator, I think, to actually learn it.
You got a couple weeks to worry about that, so that's the good news. All right, congratulations on the win. Anyone you want to thank?
I just wanted to thank you guys for broadcasting this. It's amazing. Operation Motorsport, they've been with me for the last year, and they've been a huge support, and especially all the sponsors like Trophy AI and that's very very appreciated, and thank you.
Congratulations. See you in a couple weeks. That's Chris Glandon, your winner in the 992.2. On to our benefactors. We'll go to Tanner Masters, who finished in fourth in the LMP2 class. And before we get to talk about your story, I want to talk about your race. What happened there with the bread curbing? I think we probably had some still bread out there, but either way, a great recovery drive out of you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so they're hard to miss, right? They're big, they're yellow, they're nasty. No, I thought I could shave off a tenth or a thousandth, trying to get a little closer to Labe there, and just kind of undershot that and smacked that brake, or smacked that curbing. Luckily enough, I didn't take really any damage, so it was really just a matter of getting the time back, which seemed to pay off by the end of the race.
Either way, a fantastic recovery drive out of you. All right, let's talk about your story as well. You're the driver of Aggressive Salmon Racing, but how did you find Operation eMotorsport?
Oh man. So oddly enough, I was looking at a car corral at COTA. I think it was maybe an SRO race, and they were doing a car corral, and Operation Motorsport banner was on the bottom of it. and I assumed that they were the ones that ran it. It was the Veterans Car Crawl, so I clicked on it, found out it's not what it was, but I decided to go with it anyway. Tried to researching some stuff about it while I was doing a pack test for because I'm a fireman, but I do wildlands, so I do an annual pack test. So I was doing a pack test, and there was a teams meeting that was scheduled, and I thought it was shenanigans, but I said, I'll listen in anyway. And that kind of mindset went on and on and on until I met one of the guys down in California my first flight to Laguna, and his name was Greg Meismer. And that's kind of how I found him. So it was just this weird, I don't want to call it divine intervention, but just a weird set of circumstances that were perfectly placed ahead of me to find, such an amazing group of people. So.
And for somebody who maybe is watching this for the first time and wants to know more about this great group of people, what do you have to say about Operation Motorsport?
I would have to say, if you're a person that likes to jump all into something and experience something new, even if you're a bit hesitant, I would say Opmo has proven a million times over that it is an absolute safe bet to invest your heart and your future in what they can provide.
Absolutely, and great to see the help that Operation Motorsport does with different teams in and around the racing world. But either way, let's jump off of that. Preview next week. Barber Motorsports Park. Not a track we normally see LMP2s at, but it's an absolutely fantastic track to begin with.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the calendar, next to Road Atlanta. I think those are probably easily my top three, but never put a P2 on it, no. So I've done the GT3s, GT4s, so I'm a little excited, a little nervous. I'm really hoping I can find some time and at least try to see Matt Smotherman at least once on the track, other than the race start, and we can do. So.
I like that. I like that. All right, well, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Go get some rest and get some practice.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, Tanner Masters, you're one of our interviews for the beneficiary. We'll go over to Damien Castro as well. He'll be last but not least.
Oh.
What the heck is that?
I apologize for that. Oh, my goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's live TV. All right, first of all, let's talk about your race. And second place, not bad.
Yeah. It came down to a tire race between me and Chance. We were just down there talking about it in the transfer room. We ended up pitting at the same time. He saw me come in. I tried to do an undercut. I tried to get in the pits before he saw me, but he caught me in that undercut and came in. So I thought I'd come in with new tires and have a little bit more of traction going through. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I kept running into a little bit of issues, and he kept throwing GT4 cars at me. So I couldn't get around him. But much love to Chance. Wonderful race. I had a blast.
All right, let's talk about your opportunities with Opmo as well. We had Tanner Masters, who said he actually found Opmo here at COTA, no less, and then went on. So let's talk about your story.
So I found Opmo. I'm a huge motorsports fan. So I've been watching motorsports forever and a day, Formula One, IMSA, SRO. And I happened to be watching a TCR race at Sonoma. And I heard Jason, I believe it was being interviewed by the broadcasters there talking about what Opmo does and what they were doing. And I was like, oh, wow, this is a great opportunity. I'd love to get involved in this. So I ended up applying, and I didn't join in right away. I had some of my own issues that I needed to deal with, so I backed off. I ended up rejoining here a couple months ago, and I've been a part of the motorsports, the eMotorsport side ever since, and I absolutely love it. This is by far one of the best places that I have been. And the community is great. The people are great. The staff really care. And that's really what it's about. And I really enjoy it. The laughs and jokes are great. So that's where I found it.
And that's the thing, everybody thinks, oh, it's just eMotorsport, but really it's not. Like you mentioned, they do a lot in SRO, in So, and it's not just one team, it's across. If there's a veteran who wants to be a part of a team, they try and find them a place to go so they have that camaraderie, because you stop and think, a lot of veterans that want to work in racing want something that they missed from when they were serving.
Absolutely. I mean, the team atmosphere is great. I love the conversations. I know, the people watching, you guys can't hear the conversations that we're having on the track, but it really is a community-based race. Nobody's out there hiding setups or anything. We share as much as we can with each other to enjoy the races and to make them more competitive for each other. And it's really fun. I've had some amazing friendships that have come out of Otmo, and I think that it's only going to get better as we continue to grow and we can continue to do more. So I can't wait to see what the future brings for Otmo.
No, I can't either. I'm honored and blessed to be a part of this series and tell your guys' story, because that's what it is. It's about you guys and what Otmo means to everybody. All right, off the sappy stuff, let's talk about Barber. A couple of weeks from now, a lot of drivers saying, yeah, I can't wait to go. It's my first time there. What are your thoughts going into the Alabama roller coaster?
So there's a lot into it. iRacing just updated Barber. So there's a new scan. There's new stuff on the track. Obviously, I think I'm going to be spending probably the rest of the week getting used to Barber again and getting used to the track, trying to get my balancing right. A lot of the tunes aren't ready yet, especially since the new season with iRacing just came out. So we got to get those tunes and everything ready to go. I don't know if I'll be in the McLaren the next race. I think I'm going to change it up. I've got a new car that I like, and I think I might go that route. So, but yeah, with that, there's going to be a lot of practice. I think there's going to be a lot of rooms within the eRacing series that we're going to have and do a lot of practicing in between now and that race. So, but I'm super excited for it. I think it's a wonderful track. I think it's going to make for really good racing, really tight racing, and I can't wait to get on the track again.
Mr. Fancy Pants over here having multiple cars. Look at that. Well, either way, second place, great running. Congratulations.
Yes,
we'll see you in a couple
Thank
weeks.
You, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
And that was Damian Castro, your second place driver in GT3. As I've got to go in here and we'll drag him down. All right, that does it for all the interviews here. What a fantastic race we saw at COTA. Next time out, as we've been talking in a couple of weeks, is the Barber Motorsports Park. It's the place that Forrest built. Absolutely fantastic. And if you want to ride on the Alabama roller coaster, come join us March 31st at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on Race Spot TV. What a fantastic race, and what a great way to spend St. Patrick's Day evening with racing with some friends here at the Circuit of the Americas. And I cannot wait to see what the next race brings. For Josh Lee, my name is Jeremy Scott. Thanks for joining us here on the Operation eMotorsport League. Remember to always keep it pointed forward, keep it between the ditches, and keep it greasy side down. We'll see you next time here on Race Spot TV.